Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the NSCAC Presents Behind the Bench. Today, we have three special guests with us who are going to be talking about the college life of Italia and Rome City Institute, and also of our upcoming Serie Select ID camp in Toronto in August. My name is Valerio Rocca. I'm the Vice President of the NSCAC. With us today, we have Marco Montini, who's the Director of Sports Performance for Rome City Institute. We have Giorgio Antongirolami, who's the co-founder of College Life Italia and Rome City Institute. And we have Massimo Augusto, who's a coach with Sampdoria and Lecce with their youth groups. And he's also doing various projects with Rome City and Serie Select. Gentlemen, welcome. Benvenuto, and thank you for coming here today to discuss the various different organizations and projects you guys have in place, not only in Italy, but that you're trying to bring over to North America in the United States of America and Canada. Giorgio, how are you today?
Valerio, I'm very good. Thank you very much for the introduction. And if you allow me, I will take over from here for the presentation we are going to do, if you don't mind.
No problem at all. I just want to remind everybody, if anybody has any questions, please leave those for the Q&A section of the Zoom call, as well as the chats, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can throughout the next hour or so. Thank you, Giorgio, and you can go ahead.
Okay. I'm trying to reload my presentation. In the meantime, that the computer works on this, I want to make sure that not to correct Valerio, but to introduce correctly the people that we have in this panel. So, as Valerio said, Giorgio Antongirolami. Here, I've been in Kansas City, the United States of America, in the past 25 years as a professional player, college player as well. And then I've been coaching at college level for the past 22 years. And in the meantime, we founded College Life Italia that helps out Italian student athletes to come to Canada and USA in the past 10 years. And we have around 500 student athletes present in North America right now. And we also created the Rome City Institute, that is the bridge on the other way from North America to Italy to study and live, as we like to say, the Italian dream. And in this platform in Italy, we have Massimo Augusto, that is our director of coaching of the academy, former Sampdoria coach and Lecce coach, and many other professional teams in Italy. And at the same time, Professor Montini, that is our director of sport performance, that actually is the U19, 17, and youth Italian national team fitness trainer as well. So I want to clear those two. In the meantime, as you can see here, I have the slide. This is New York 24/7, because we were just 3 days ago in New York to present the Serie Select program. As you can see, is a creation between the Serie A and Rome City Institute. We are the official partner of Serie A all over North America as the regional partner. What does it mean? We like to go and then find the talent in North America that we think can be proposed or showcased to the Italian Serie A teams. And in fact, in this position, Massimo Augusto is our director of scouting as well, because he's the one that is going to also be present in Toronto in a couple of weeks and evaluate all the players that he saw in Kansas City 3 weeks ago, New York yesterday, Toronto. And furthermore, we're going to add Miami, San Francisco, Houston, St. Louis, and so on and so forth for the future. I'm not going to read all the slides. I want you guys to read it. In the meantime, I talk. Otherwise, it becomes a very heavy presentation. I like to be more speedy, and I like to leave space to Massimo and Marco to talk about their way to coach and why we do this. But as you can see, we are going to attack for the next 3 years the entire market in North America with starting age group from 14 to 18, but also probably going all the way to the U10 at a certain point and up, just to be able to follow the talent from the beginning. And at the same time, why we choose North America? As you can see, the biggest thing in this slide that you can read is not just the growth of American ownership of Italian clubs, also Canadian ownership. As you guys know very well, the Saputo family owns Bologna. So therefore, this one was more targeted for the New York people, but we are going to have, we have to highlight the fact that also there is a Canadian presence in the Italian market right now through Montreal and Bologna. But what and how we do it? We are going to start the regional camp selection, going to play evaluation, report, and final outcome. We are not going to select people to select just for brand awareness. We are going to bring to Italy the one that we think are the right fit for those tryouts. We don't promise contracts, we just promise an open door to then bring the talent in Italy and see what they can do over there. As you can see, in fact, the kid that can be 13 or 14 or 16 years old, who never knows what we can find, is going to be invited officially by the Serie A team, and then it's going to be evaluated on the field in Italy. And in fact, we already have a prospect that is coming to the Toronto one that has already interest from Italian teams, and we are going to have a double check. Some scouts already call us and to keep an eye on him and see what they can do for us. But from Serie A Select, we go to what really we do with the Rome City Institute, who we are. We are probably the only one in Italy that creates the student athlete model, because there is no such a thing in Italy. And we do it by offering the education, undergrad program, master program, or also gap year program with a professional soccer academy. That's where the positions and the personas of Massimo, Augusto, and Marco Montini really enter in with double foot, as I like to say, tackle the player down with their type of teaching, knowledge, and experience at highest level in Italy. And then Rome City Institute, as you can see, has 3 different type of main missions, and where we like to educate the next generation, at the same time combining sport and education, in all this through a great experience. So I like to say that we are a sport education experience type of program, brings all them together. What do we offer? We offer a long-term program or a short-term program, where you can have a gap year or just a gap semester, and we already had 3 or 4 Canadians student athletes who were part of our program last year. We can study in Italian system and take a 3 years type of undergraduate program rather than 4 or 5 like it is in Canada. Or you can also come and get a master in soccer coaching and sport management. And many of the 24, 25 years old students who come to Italy then come back to North America and start to coach at college level or club level. So we are forming and educating the next wave of young coaches by a year-long experience almost. At the same time, we have a classic soccer tour, summer experience, player experience. What does it mean? If you have any player, or if you as a coach want to do a trip in Italy, spend a week in Rome with our coaching staff, or bring players with our coaching staff to be trained, we are open all year round. There's no specific date. We just can be very flexible and organize that for you. And at the same time, we offer 9-month season. That is very tough with the weather-related situation, or in our case, I am a coach at the NCAA level. We cannot offer that type of a 9 months progress because we have so many rules that we have to abide by. In Italy, we don't have none of those rules. A student that comes will get a student visa that allows them to get permesso di soggiorno, that is a work permit, allows them to be registered with a club. If they're good enough, we also do a club placement for them in Italy. As you can see, our facility is right in front of the cupola of San Pietro, so right by Vatican City, and every day they train. We have a pool, we have a basketball court, we have a ABA court, paddle courts, and also a gym right by where everybody can train every day. And so our facility is really in the middle of downtown Rome. In addition, what do? We offer financial aid. We offer financial aid according to academic or according to educational and talent that they have in soccer, or in this case, we are talking about soccer. We also have, as you can see behind me, we have both volleyball and also lacrosse and basketball. So we are a fully athletic department with a lot of forces. And Massimo is also the
track and field hockey. We have 8 sports this year.
We are adding more, and Massimo is also the athletic director of the entire program, not just the head coach, but we were this one facing and focusing on the soccer part with you. And as you can see, a little picture of our campus is just downtown Rome, is a former Pope summer house from the 1600s. So it's a beautiful and different campus that we can find between Canada and the USA in terms of what we think it is a classic American campus. And from here, we have also our own housing, apartments. Students will learn how to cook in the apartments, how to go down to the market, either get a cappuccino in the morning or get some fruit and vegetables and pasta, and learn how to live as a Roman, as we like to say. And so this is just a quick introduction. I didn't want to take too much time from me because I want to leave my wording to Massimo, who will start to explain to you how we do how we train them, how we select players, and how our methodology can help out both coaches and young players to change their way to see the game and to approach to our methodology, so-called. So Massimo, let me know when you're able to share the screen, and I think I close mine.
If you close your screen, I'm going to share my one.
Okay. Should be all close here, Massimo.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to Valerio to invite us here, and thank you, Giorgio, for introducing me. So here you can see, can you hear me?
Yes.
Here you can see our coaching staff. We have with us like a director of coaching, Marco Materazzi. Our academic director, Antonio Cincotta, is as well the head coach of Sampdoria Women first team. We have our director of mental performance, Herbert Sikam. She works every day with guys, and she helped us to develop the methodology, especially for the research that she brought on the methodology. And Marco Montini, our director of performance, that he will talk later. So basically, our methodology, we like to say there is a tailor-made solution. What does mean tailor-made solution? Our methodology is built upon all your needs. So we start from the game model in accord to your principle, in accord to your value, in accord with the characteristics of the player. We are going to customize your methodology based on what you need. Is an innovative methodology because, like I say, is inspired of an ecological validity. We really like to work with the deliberate practice, like we grew up when we were young. Especially in Italy, we grew up playing soccer on the street. And in our opinion, we need to restart from the basement. We need to restart from the street soccer. So that kind of a methodology, it could be inspire the young player through the game. So we can say the methodology is game-centered. Can you hear me? Give me a feedback if you hear me, guys.
We can hear you, Massimo. Thank you.
Radio?
Yes, all good, all good.
Okay, perfect. So we start from the game and we want to hand through the game. It's very important to have very clear the goal, the objective that we want to achieve. When we talk about goal, we are talking about our goal, their goal, our game, their game, and we are talking about the intention, because if we have a clear goal, we can build a good training session. If we build a training session just to build a training session, just to move the ball, to passing the ball without an intention, we can learn. The kids cannot learn anything. So at that point, I like to introduce another specific point. There's the environment. If you practice in a specific environment, for the brain, in order to learn, for the brain, it's very easy. If you stay away from the right environment, it's quite difficult to have a real contest, to have a real environment where they can develop their skills. A last point, just in order, not because last but not the least, at least, is the specific training. Like I said before, everything is based on the game model. And later we are going to see what's the game model. Two things are very important: the variability and the repetition in order to learn. When we talk about the variability, we are talking about the basis to develop the learning process. And when we talk about the repetition, as a very good scientist says, we like to say repetition without repetition. When we talk about the repetition, it's not just about the number of the repetition, but it's about how to repeat something. And again, it's very important to have an intention behind every technical skill. So basically, we split in 4 steps our development process. The first step is to establish your game model. Then we need to determine the game principles. The game principles, we can say, that are the fundamental of the game model. Then we can talk about the training session. So we're going to build the training program. Just at the end, we are going to periodize every training session in the short term, in the long term. So like you can understand, our methodology is based on the game model. When we talk about the game model, we are talking about the coaching philosophy, the characteristics of the player, and the culture, the club culture, and the styling philosophy. That's why we like to say that our methodology is a tailor-made solution, because it's built upon your needs. The coaching philosophy is the philosophy of every coaching has it. The characteristics of the player are too important, because we can't go on YouTube and just take an exercise from YouTube and we can do with our players, because every team has their needs and every kid has their needs. So last thing is the culture and the style and the philosophy of the club. I'll give you an example. If you want to build a game model inspiring to Juventus, for example, you have to know that Juventus, they have a strong mentality. They wanna win. The most important thing for them is to win. They don't care about the style of play, the play of style. They don't care about to build up for the back. They just think about to win. So when we build a training session, when we have a game model, when we want to build a game model for Juventus, for example, it's very important to have in our mind that kind of culture and philosophy. For example, if you work for AC Milan, they like to play a very good soccer. You have to stay online with their principle, culture, and style, and so on. So I don't want to go very deep about the game principles and how to build in a specific the training session. If you have any question about what I said, give me some question, because otherwise I'm gonna bore you guys if I'm gonna show you all the slides. Basically, that's how we build our methodology. Giorgio?
Yes, and then another big aspect that we like to underline is always like the sport performance part. An example that we have here in the US, and that's me at least. I don't know how you guys operate in Canada, but all the kids from the age of 6 to 12, really there's no specific emphasis on the sport performance. And even though later, even that's worse. So that's why we have our Professor Montini, that he can explain how we introduce that, incorporate that in our methodology at the Rome City Institute.
Thank you, Giorgio. Thank you, Valerio, for the invitation. Basically, the performance is based on 4 big important pillars. The first one, and the most important, is work on injury prevention. The injury prevention is prepare the athletes to cope the demands of the official competition. And then what does it mean? That if there is some joint that is very stressed during the competition, I have to prepare the body to cope these demands at high intensity. And this is why we work during the warm-up with the mini band, with core stability, but not because it's a style, because we need to do this specific exercise, and hopefully at an individual level, because each player, each athlete can have lackness in some aspect or in some body districts. I like to underline this connection with the technical staff, even in the injury prevention, because if the conditioning coach don't look at the technical tactical part of the training, you will injure it for sure, because during the time that the players spend with the coach, they produce some movement that stress, endurance, agility, changes of direction, and so on. Or maybe not. It depends to the coach. And then the conditioning coach has to be like a good parent that give to the son the things that the son don't, for example, eat during the day. Because if the son at school eat a lot of protein, me as a parent during the dinner at home, I have to give to my son the elements and the stimulus that the son don't eat during the day. And the same is during an entire week of training with the coach. If the coach like to work in the restricted area, me as a conditioning coach, even if I love to work with high intensity changes of direction, I have to avoid this kind of movement during my strength exercise, because they already did with the coach. And then there isn't the holy grail in conditioning and in performance. The holy grail is use the brain, take information about the environment, take information about the methodology, take information about the athletes, monitor the training load and the load of the match, and adapt day by day the performance aspect. Many times, believe me, a lot of conditioning coach ask me, what do you think about this tool? The sprint on the slope, the changes of direction, the mini band, the leg extension, is tools. And then could be very good or completely useless or even bad, dangerous for a player, just according to the environment. And then I can't give any kind of advice without taking information. And then we work strength, endurance, and agility on a performance point of view. Enhance the strength, enhance the endurance, and enhance the agility. But endurance and strength, we work on this kind of ability, even thinking about injury prevention, because the exercise with the mini band is strength, but it's not a kind of strength that helps you during the game to perform better. The mini band, for example, helps you to cope and to do the movement without any injury risk. Otherwise, we do the test, especially at the beginning of the season, to individualize the load and the exercise. We work a lot on the warm-up with the foam roll, core stability, mini band, strength, proprioception. We use a lot of exercise coming from the FIFA 11 Plus and the FIFA 11 Plus Kids program. And we work on the recovery. And at least something that I don't already tell you, but Giorgio tell you about the education. This is my second love in my work, is to give information to the athletes, because an athlete can be an athlete only 2 hours per day when he stay at the gym or he stay on the field. Impossible, guys, impossible. Nutrition, lifestyle, sleep quality, everything helps the athletes, especially the youth one, to improve every day. Think about just the growth hormone that is naturally produced and released by our body, but is influenced by nutrition, sleep time, quality time, the use of the phone. And then if I work with youth player, I have to give them this information. If I want to create good athletes, I have to create a good man, and a man that know what happened in his body during the entire day. This is our approach. And then to summarize, information, take care about the player, share information inside the staff, share information with the player, and try to train at an individual level.
Thank you, Marco, and thank you, Massimo, for your information.
Thank you, Marco. That's why we really love to say that we put in the middle first the person, then the player. Our methodology is built around the person. We develop, like Marco was saying, we develop person first, then player. That's why we really believe in our methodology, because we put in the middle of everything the player. We put in the middle of this area of work, in the middle of this structure of the academy, the person, then the player. And I really appreciate what Marco said, because every areas of the academy structure is linked between them. So when Marco at the beginning was saying that if, for example, the coaching staff, the technical coaching staff like to work in the tight space, then Marco is going to adjust the physical demands based on what we did before Marco worked with the kids. And to work with this kind of methodology, the most important things is to share every idea of the department.
Marco,
like you can see in that slide, all the areas speak between them, talk between them.
Perfetto. Valerio, we leave it up to you for any questions or any doubts or anything that we can interact with.
Yeah, I have a question for you, and it's a question for Marco. Marco, I think injury prevention is a very important aspect when we talk about development of not only the player but of the collective group. Unfortunately, here in North America, and Giorgio can attest to it, a lot of these clubs, a lot of these academies are not set up in a professional manner or in a professional structure like you guys have in Italy, where there's a sports performance coach, there's a technical coach. Sometimes it's one coach running the whole program. So for those coaches that are in this webinar right now, Marco, is there any kind of advice or anything that you can help them get ideas on how to make injury prevention a part of their program that's nice and simple? Because like I said, if you're not looking after this part, you could be damaging players long term, right? So just for those, Marco, and keep it as simple as you can, because
I'm not sure about as you name it, the non-professional environment, because to do a good injury prevention, you don't need any kind of professional environment. You can do a very good and very effectively injury prevention with 2 meters per a space of 2 meters per 2 meters, and believe me, $25, because the exercise that the players need is something that they have to do before the training session, and then just call at the pitch the player 45 minutes before the start of the training session. You can download on the FIFA website, the official website, the PDF of the 11 plus injury prevention program. And what I suggest is print the program, put the program into the wall, create a good environment like a clean space, a sound box, the coach that are there, look at the players that do this exercise, change this exercise once a month. And then the players understand that this exercise is important because the head coach are looking me during this exercise. I do the exercise myself, thanks to the PDF, thanks to the exercise, and only the presence in that moment of the head coach is a very strong message for the player. And then give the information to the player, create a meeting at the beginning of the season with the conditioning coach, with any kind of professions that speak about what we can do in 40 minutes before the training session. And then is easy, just a matter of start to do it, and organize better the environment. Because it's one of the cases that Giorgio helped me. La forma aiuta molto il contenuto. The shape of the situation helps a lot the practical aspect.
The environment.
Yeah, which is important, because I think you as a coach or a head coach of the program know the environment that you want to create. And now you just have to create the programs and the structure to effectively run that program and make players become better soccer players.
Look, Valerio, just to do a practical tips. I teach in the UEFA license course in Italy, and I speak to the amateur coach, okay? And nobody has a professional environment or facilities, but a locker room, a tennis court that is not used before the game, everything is good to do this kind of exercise, because a mat is €5, a mini band is €5, a foam roll is more €5, and you need just the ground, you don't need a rooftop if it's spring or summer, or in Italy, September, October. You don't need anything. You need the energy, you need the attention, you need the passion, and you need that you have to feel that you have to take care about the player.
Marco, there is a question regarding our showcase ID camp that we do in Italy, College of Italia, and here in the US with Serie Select. The question from Colin Brett says, what is the role of objective player performance data during the showcase evaluation stages?
Okay, from a performance point of view, we use the GPS device that helps us to understand the physical performance of each player, like metabolic power, high intensity action, energy expenditure, total distance. We have a plethora of data that we can use. I focus my attention only on 8 to 10 of this data, and it is an objective picture of the performance. On the other hand, there is the technical evaluation, and Massimo can speak about it because we record with a special camera all the match, and before the match I test with the laser the speed, the acceleration, and the changes of direction ability of each player.
And in fact, to answer what we are doing those Serie Select and what we are doing at the College of Italia Showcase in Italy, we are taking times on the 10 meters, 30 meters, and then the 10-meter shuffle as well. And we compare a person born in 2006 in Kansas City to a person born in 2006 in Toronto, New York, and Italy as well. So we have some data to compare just in terms of data. Not that it will make a difference in our evaluation, but we have an objective number in front of us. An example, very practical, we were Massimo and Marco in Milano, and we were the day before in Verona. In Verona, we saw a very strong and fast center back that is already playing in Colorado. So I made a joke and say, hey, who is in Milano beat his time? And Marco goes, that number. That player was a defensive mid who never used his speed during the game. But we as a coaches knew that also he had speed. And we know that there was a player who can play in Division I in the US because he has also the physical attributes that sometimes you do not notice in a game, thanks to the data that we collect before the tryouts.
Perfect.
Anybody else with the different questions?
Massimo, you mentioned that everything is tailored to the person. I guess my question is, what kind of characteristics then are you looking for of the person when you bring them into a training session or want to start devising a training session for them? Or is there certain kind of quality in players that you're looking for them to play on the teams in the Rome City Institute?
So as a coach, we need to adapt to the players. We can't choose their characteristics. We can't. If we are a smart coach, we need to adapt our style to them if we really want to help the young players. For sure, every coach likes player that they have a good attitude, if they have a good work ethic, if they have a passion for the game, for sure. Every coach likes this kind of player. But at the end of the day, we need to adapt to them because as I really love to say, the game, the beautiful game, is for the players, not for the coaches. And we need to understand that. If we really understand that, we are helping the players. Otherwise, all of us, we get ego coach. I really don't like the ego coach, because the ego coach put themselves before the players and before the person as well. So if you are asking me about if I have my model players, for sure I have my model player. But if you, like you can see in that slide, for us the players characteristics match with the coaching philosophy, and everything connect, everything is linked with the club culture, style, and philosophy. So before to choose the players, we choose the person around us. We choose the coaching staff around us, who is gonna share same value, same mission, same ambition, and same goals. I hope I can explain how we work here.
No, it makes perfect sense. You know, to me, even as a coach myself, it always, everything that we do has to always be about the player coming first, and even to take it one step further, outside of the player, it's got to be about the person first, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
thank you, thank you.
And if we really want to work in that way, we have to be consistent.
Yeah.
Also, if you're best player, obviously, if making mistakes, you have to be consistent to put before players the person. You have to be consistent with the message that you want to send to the players. Otherwise, you're going to lose credibility, and we can lose everything. We can make a mistake during the training session. We can make a mistake during the game, but we can't make a mistake as a person. We have to be consistent with the message that we want to send to them.
Yeah, we can't always be yelling at the same or correcting the same players, and we can't always be praising the same players. There's got to be that balance with every single player that's on that training session.
I agree. Yep. 100%.
Thank you. Massimo, do you want to talk a few minutes about the Serie Select showcase we're going to be running here in Toronto?
Yes, of course. For sure, Giorgio is better than me about. I really love to say always and always that I'm a coach. I ready to stay on the pitch, so I can explain what we are gonna do on the pitch, and Giorgio can talk about all the organization like he did at the beginning of this webinar. So first of all, we are gonna evaluate the player on the 10 meters, 30 meters, and the shuttle run, just to have a comparison with the other showcase. Then we are gonna do a technical stuff, just to know their level, just to know their technical level, and then we are gonna play 3 or 4 match. It depends on the player that we have over there. That's how it works the first day. Is a general things except the physical test. The second day, after we see the level of the players, after we see which kind of person we have in front of us, the second day we are gonna the focus is based on the technical skill, like shooting, like comprehension of the game, and the last part is gonna be about the game, because in our opinion, you can see the players through the game, not through the exercise. At the end of the day, the exercise is just a tool. It's just an exercise. Everything can do that, but the reading and the comprehension of the game is another thing. So we are gonna play many games, and at the end of these 2 days, we are gonna elect the best player, an MVP of the showcases, and the MVP is gonna have a competition with the other MVP of the other showcases around North America. And at the end of the 10 cities that we go around the States, we are gonna pick one of them or 2 of them, or it depends how many best players we have ready to come overseas here and have a tryout with the Serie team. Giorgio, if you want to add something about the administration part.
Yeah, the only thing, Massimo, to add, I don't know if you mind me say this, is that the first day we also do 1v1 or 2v2.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Just to evaluate also the technical, the 1v1, 2v2 skills, And then from there, we open up to the games. The second day, we also do, Massimo does a very good job of some specific rondos to see the comprehension of the game, how they adapt to then go to the games. We do split the groups about ages, tend to be very consistent in that. But if you also we see that there is a player that is a younger age of 2007 or 8 that is playing very good, we want to see them play also against a 2005 or 6 and see how they do at higher level, if their brain thinks a little bit faster. So those are little things that we like to see in those camps. We had a very good MVP here in Kansas City. We found not the same level initially in New York, but at the same time, we were also restricted to the number of players we could recruit in New York because they all had to have a vaccination card in New York. I don't think there is this type of hurdle in Toronto. It's really open. Correct, Valerio, we don't have any restriction in Toronto.
At the moment, we have no restrictions on vaccination status or any of that.
Perfect.
We know one thing that was coming there. We all have to bring the COVID testing that I think we are going to do in Toronto once we land the Massimo, just to let you know. That's a news that I just read today.
Perfect. So, Valerio, just to give an idea about the 2 days. The first day, the focus is about the speed test at the beginning of the training session. And the second part, the focus is on the technical part. It's very simple stuff. Technical skills, and like Giorgio said, 1v1 and 2v2. Technical part. Second days, a little bit more tactical part. When I say tactic, I'm not talking about 4-4-2, 4-3-3. No, I'm talking about the comprehension of the game. So we are going to split the 2 days, technical and physical part. Day 1, comprehension of the game, day 2.
Valerio, I think in this one there was Quarantine that raised the hands a couple of times. I don't know if Quarantine had a question or was going to make a point, because Quarantine is also our organizer of the event from our office of Rome City Institute.
I can't see him. Can you see what he's trying to ask? Because I can't see that on my screen.
No, in fact, I was going to say if he's willing to write a question, Quarantine, we are here. Just write a question, we'll answer.
I can allow him to talk. Does he want to come on the screen? There, he's on the screen.
Yep. Coco, are you there?
If you're there, turn on your camera because you're on the screen if you want to chat for a few minutes.
Okay. The question put is how can I register for Serie A Select? Thank you, Quarantine. You can go to the Rome City Institute website, and there's a link for the registration of Serie A Select. And I think we can follow up at the end of this webinar with everybody that is going to listen also the recording part with the link of the registration for the Serie A Select.
I'm also going to include the link in this chat so that if for anybody that wants to see it, the Toronto one is going to be August 12th and 13th at the Ontario Soccer Center. So if you have any players, coaches out there that you think might be interested in participating in this event, please forward them this link, and they can go onto the link, and it can direct them to how to register. If you have any questions, you can reach either myself at valerio@ssc90.com, or is there an email that you have, Giorgio, that we can include in here for people?
I can really go easily at the info@romecityinstitute.com. So it's very easy. And just for everybody to know, Valerio is also our regional ambassador for Serie A Select, and therefore Rome City Institute for the region where he's at.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. I'm honored, and thank you very much to all of you for appointing me in that position. And I'm looking forward to a great event in August. If nobody has any other questions, I'd like to thank Giorgio, Massimo, and Marco for attending today and giving us this wonderful presentation. If anybody has any other, we will be putting this up on our website and putting it on our social media outlets probably in the next week or two. But thank you very much to everybody. Marco, Massimo, Giorgio, thank you.
Thank you.
Talk soon.
Thank you, Valerio.
Grazie mille.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you so much,
Ciao.
Valerio.
Ciao.